my people, the heritage, my family, and the values that was installed. It's something that I'm extremely proud of.
Dricus du Plessis is a South African mixed martial artist whose remarkable journey in the world of combat sports has captivated fans and earned him a reputation as one of Africa's most talented fighters. Born on October 7, 1994 in Pretoria, South Africa, du Plessis developed a passion for martial arts at a young age, setting the stage for his rise through the MMA ranks. Du Plessis was a multi-talented athlete excelling in track, field, rugby and cricket, but it was combat sports that du Plessis loved. Following the footsteps of his older brothers, du Plessis would take up judo at the age of 5, he would then transition into wrestling and then kickboxing at 14. The Pretoria native loved fighting no matter the martial art, and he just wanted to learn. At 15 he became the amateur K1 kickboxing South African champion. 3 years later, and at just 18 years of age, Dricus became the WAKO world champion in K1 style kickboxing. The aim was to dominate the styles individually to help broaden his skill set and prepare him for challenges that lay ahead. Understanding that kickboxing did not have the money in it that the MMA had to offer, du Plessis made the switch. He ended his K1 career as a second-degree black belt with a staggering 33-0 record with 30 knockouts. In 2013, du Plessis made his professional mixed martial arts debut at the age of 19, embarking on a path that would see him rise through the ranks. Du Plessis would take his debut fight on short notice, finishing the bout by technical knockout in the first round. His early fights in South Africa showcased his raw talent and relentless fighting style, capturing the attention of the local combat sports scene.
This could be it for Donovan Hawkey. Dricus du Plessis landing again and again, and that is it.
Dricus du Plessis, 4-fight win streak at the age of 20 years.
With a string of TKO and submission victories in the African Extreme Fighting Championship promotion, du Plessis was granted a title shot for the EFC Middleweight Championship. Du Plessis would drop his agriculture economics degree at the University of Pretoria, fully devoting himself to the mixed martial arts. It would be here where du Plessis would experience his first setback in the MMA arena, suffering a third-round defeat against the EFC middleweight champion Gareth McLennan. Dricus bounced back well though, moving down to the welterweight class and going on a 3-fight win streak, which got him a shot against Martin van Staden for the vacant EFC welterweight championship. Dricus would finish the fight with his signature guillotine choke submission in the third round, becoming the champion. Dricus defended his belt at 170 pounds before returning to the middleweight division to contest once again for the middleweight title. In what was du Plessis' highest profile bout, which involved many antics, Dricus showed the English Yannick Bahati, who had been champion since 2016, how to finish. The victory not only established du Plessis as the best middleweight in Africa, but also garnered international attention and recognition. Du Plessis became a multi-weight class champion within the EFC and quickly set his sights on other endeavours. Du Plessis would move to Poland to join the KSW fighting promotion, where he was matched up against the extremely dangerous Roberto Sordich. Known for his brutal finishes, Sordich was on a 7-fight win streak with all his wins coming as finishes. Du Plessis rose to the occasion, giving one of his best performances, stopping the contest with a precise left hand. At this point, du Plessis was the reigning EFC middleweight and welterweight champion, as well as the KSW welterweight champion. Recognised as one of the best MMA athletes outside of the UFC, du Plessis looks set on debuting for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Unfortunately, Dricus would be stopped by the before-mentioned Sordich in the title rematch, losing the belt. A win in the rematch would have ensured an opportunity with the UFC, but the brutal loss meant his UFC journey would take a detour. Dricus did well in his next KSW bout, dominating the Brazilian Jolton Lutherbach with relentless ground and pound. Dricus returned to South Africa to defend his EFC title against interim champ Brendan Laysar. Yet again, Dricus' striking came to the forefront as a well-timed left hook dropped his opponent before submitting his opponent with a guillotine choke. The EFC became the platform for du Plessis to showcase his exceptional abilities. With each fight he demonstrated his striking power, grappling prowess, and relentless aggression. Du Plessis' performances were marked by explosive knockouts and dominant victories, thrilling fans and ultimately catching the eye of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the pinnacle of mixed martial arts competition. With his record at 14-2, defeating some excellent MMA competition, he was ready for the call-up as he joined an elite roster of fighters and faced the opportunity to compete against the very best in the world. Arriving to the Yas Island in the UAE, du Plessis was matched up against journeyman middleweight Marcus Perez. Du Plessis was highly regarded entering the UFC's octagon, but even surpassed those expectations. A du Plessis bout had never before reached the judges' scorecards, and this one was no different. His striking again reigned supreme as Perez dropped to the floor only 3 minutes into the first round. Although a significant milestone, Du Plessis understood that this was just one win and there was a long way to go. After facing visa issues, Dricus would have to pull out of his scheduled bout on March 20th of 2021. Forced to sit out for over a year whilst the complications resolved, Du Plessis would eventually get his shot with the match rebooked as Dricus showcased his underrated striking ability at UFC 276. Dropping Trevin Giles with a perfectly timed right, the win immediately put the middleweight division on notice, signalling that Du Plessis was a force to be reckoned with. The UFC would match him up against veteran Brad Tavares, with this arguably Du Plessis' toughest test to date. In what was a one-sided affair, Du Plessis would win by unanimous decision. A high-profile matchup against the 10th-ranked Darren Till followed, with this Du Plessis' gateway into being ranked into the middleweight division in the UFC. Du Plessis showed that he was not only proficient with his hands, but he could take the fight to the ground effectively. Till was unable to defend a single takedown by Du Plessis and was ultimately finished by submission via face crank. Dricus would be booked only 4 months later at UFC 285 against Derek Brunson, a fight that he would win via corner stoppage at the end of round 2. This meant that Du Plessis was now on a 5-0 run in the UFC and a 7-fight win streak overall. This continued success would grant him a fight of a lifetime, a title eliminator at UFC 290 against former middleweight champion Robert Whittaker, a man that has only lost against the reigning champion Israel Adesanya, with Rob time and time again making light work of the rest of the middleweight division. Whittaker represents one of the toughest challenges in the UFC, and with a title fight on the line against Israel Adesanya, this bout will be career-defining for Du Plessis. Du Plessis' dominant run has not been without its criticism. Dricus' unconventional fighting style is often labelled as clunky and odd. Dricus in the octagon is a brawler, and it may not be pretty, but he has consistently outlasted his opponents. His cardio has often been highlighted as a weakness as well, but he manages to find a way to win these fights. Du Plessis acknowledges the challenge that Whittaker presents, stating,
Now, a lot of people are saying it's not a smart move to fight Whittaker. 100%, I agree with that. I agree it's not the smart move, but I'm not here to be smart.
A back and forth between Adesanya and Du Plessis has already ensued, with Adesanya angered by the comments of Du Plessis, saying,
I will gladly drag his carcass across South Africa. Wallahi.
This came in response to Du Plessis saying that,
Well, I mean, did those belts ever go to Africa? As far as I know, it came to America and New Zealand. I'm going to take a belt to Africa. I'm the African fighter in the UFC. Myself and Cameron, we breathe the African air. We wake up in Africa every day. We train in Africa. We're African born. We're African raised. We still reside in Africa. We train out of Africa. That's an African champion, and that's who I'll be.
These comments would receive serious online backlash, with Du Plessis clarifying that he never intended to offend Adesanya, but was simply stating that although Adesanya is born in Africa and represents the continent, he does not reside or train here. Nonetheless, the story so far serves as an inspiration to aspiring fighters throughout Africa. An Adesanya and Du Plessis title fight could be a massive African title spectacle, as Dricus looks to become the first ever South African UFC champion. Before that though, he will have to face a legendary Robert Whittaker at UFC 290, in what could go down as one of the biggest UFC upsets ever if he can pull out a win. If you enjoyed this video, press that like button, press that subscribe button for more Sporting News Australia content, or check us out on TikTok or on the website. The links are in the description. Thank you for watching.